White House reporter for the Associated Press, Jonathan Lemire, MSNBC contributor Mike Barnicle, former U.S. Senator, now on NBC News, and MSNBC political analyst Claire McCaskill, NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent and host of Way Too Early, Casey Hunt, and legal affairs correspondent for NPR, Nina Totenberg. Great group assembled here at the top of the hour. Claire, I want to start with you as someone who spent a number of years working in that building, who had a lot of friends in that building. Casey Hunt was in that building. Our good friend was there. Your visceral reaction to watching that. We know some, pieces of what happened. It was all put together by House managers yesterday in that video. We know that somewhere in that scene, a cop was killed. Others were nearly killed. We know that staffers were locked in offices looking for gas masks. What did you feel watching that video as someone who served in that building?
I tried to watch it with fresh eyes, and I realized, Willie, that it was my overwhelming refrain. I kept going through my head, is not America. This is video from some third world country where there is some kind of military coup taking place, or some kind of system that has no respect for the rule of law, or some place where there aren't free and fair elections. And, it is powerfully depressing is what it is, and sad. The fact that police officers were maimed and murdered by people carrying flags that signified Blue Lives Matter. The way they talked to the police officers that were trying to maintain order. I mean, there's a long list of emotions that go through. And frankly, the hardest part for me of the video was them ransacking the senators' desks and taking pictures of, what people keep in those desks because it is such a safe and sacred place. Things are intensely personal. Mementos that senators keep in those drawers, or things they pull out to remind themselves of family or important moments in their lives. And the notion that these terrorists were in the Senate chamber and rifling through desks, it had to be powerful to every single one of those senators.
Well, and for those of us, obviously these people don't love and respect their country, but for those of us who love and respect our country and are moved by its history, anybody that's been on the Senate floor and got a tour through the Senate floor understands that is history, living history there. You see the desk where John Kennedy sat, the desk that Daniel Webster etched his initials on. There's so much history there. But of course, that's not something that we would expect people who kill cops and maim cops and actually try to subvert the Constitution of the United States to understand. But for the rest of us, it is so deeply, deeply disturbing. And Nina Totenberg, I was talking to Jim Vandehei earlier this morning. Jim and I met over a quarter of a century ago in the Capitol and have spent so much of our adult lives there and understand how sacred this place is, at least to us. Maybe not to Donald Trump supporters, but at least to us. And I know you've been there. You've been walking those halls, and you've been going there for so many years yourself. I just wonder, looking at the impeachment manager's video yesterday, what were your personal thoughts?
Well, they did a really smart thing. They had a law firm, actually not some Hollywood producer, but a law firm put together that video, and it's essentially a TikTok of what's happening as the day goes on. And from a prosecutorial point of view, it was a very shrewd thing because it's both emotional and at the same time lays out their legal case. And as awful as that picture of him pulling headgear off of a cop and then smushing him, and he's screaming in pain as they're trying to get into a door, it's a phenomenally emotional piece of video. At the same time, ultimately, the TikTok shows that there is 2 hours that are going by while this is going on, and the president is saying nothing.
President's saying nothing, and if you listen to those around him, and even the words of Ben Sass in an interview, reports are that the president was gleeful when he saw this. When he saw all of this unfolding, was wondering why others around him watching were not equally gleeful. Nina, I want to also ask you about the presentation of the House managers yesterday. I've, like you, I've seen quite a few presentations, whether it was Watergate, whether it was, I was a little young but still remember it, or whether it was Iran-Contra, whether it was impeachment of Bill Clinton, whether it was the last. I mean, I've seen a lot of legal teams go to the Senate floor or even in congressional hearings or joint hearings try to execute a case. I must say, yesterday was one of the most effective days I've seen. I usually, though, I, of course, am nothing but a dumb country lawyer, I can identify great lawyers. I can identify those that put together and execute a case. I've got to put yesterday near the top of anything I've seen in my life. They were just ruthlessly efficient in delivering their case.
I think they learned from the first impeachment, where they all felt very passionate about their case then, but they didn't put it on very well. It was antiseptic, it was repetitive, it was, not to put too fine a point on this, it was boring. This one was like night and day.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.